All right, my friends, I am back. Do you like the haircut? I just got it cut. If you saw the last video, it wasn't that long, but now it's shorter, especially in the sides, very short. I don't know if it's too short. It seems a little on the short side. So I'm going to talk today about movement marketing and why that's such a game changer. And I used to think of movement marketing as something that was like way too advanced and for the extra special, like high level or like next level. It's just too complicated for mere mortals like myself. And then the more I thought about it, the more I learned about it, I was like, oh, this is the power. So here's the thing, right? So Lucinda is one of my clients. I love her dearly. And she's an older woman. She's trained as a doctor, and she realized that most of medicine is crap and it's a scam. And so she stopped doing that, and she got into mindfulness, and she helps with other means now, more natural means. And what she's realized is that there are a lot of older women who have trouble sleeping. And so in the beginning, she was selling coaching, sleep coaching to older women. And that's great. It's fair. It's, hey, if you're an older woman, you have trouble sleeping, hey, join my coaching program and I'll help you sleep better. But then one day she came to me and she was like, I am so incensed because all of these older women who are using sleep medications, like prescription or over the counter, but like chemicals and alcohol to try to sleep. But it doesn't actually give them their body proper rest. It doesn't work. It may help them like knock them out and get them to sleep, but it doesn't actually really restore the body. And so what happens to them is that their brains are slowly melting away. They're basically like destroying, their brains are seeping away due to the chemicals that they're ingesting into themselves, and due to the lack of restorative deep sleep. It's freaking tragic, isn't it? Once she started to talk about it that way, I was like, oh yeah, fuck yeah, that is fucking tragic. How do we put up with that? And I happen to know someone very intimately, very closely, for whom this is the case. Oh shit. All of a sudden I was fired up and I was like, how can I help? Like, how can I help spread the word about this? Because this is a mission that I can get behind. And that, my friends, is the point of movement marketing. The point is that you frame what you're doing in the form of a movement so that thereby you invite other people to join in your movement. You invite them to enroll into your movement. So even if they're not clients, they still have a stake equity in what you're doing because they're like, hell yeah, we got to do something about this. That's the power of movement marketing. So now when you go on a podcast or you go on a stage and you talk about why you're so passionate about this and what's broken in the world and how we need to fix that and how do we fix that and how do you become part of the solution, if you're one that's caught up in this and you're like older women and you can't sleep, then here's what you can do, blah, 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 all of that. Now you're enrolling everybody into your cause because everybody knows someone who is like an older woman who has trouble sleeping, pretty much. Yeah. And if you don't, you can empathize with the fact you know that they exist. And that's why I want you to frame what you're doing in the form of a movement. And the way that you do that is very simple. It's just, what is it that you're for or against? Or put another way, what is the wrong in the world that you want to right? What is it that exists in the world that you look at and you're like, that's fucking wrong. It can't be fucking right that it is this way. Like, it pisses me the F off. And it's okay here to go human, like not spiritual, right? Because in a spiritual sense, we're like, everything is exactly as it should be and there's nothing wrong in the world. I remember I interviewed Byron Katie for my podcast years ago in 2018. You can find the video online. I had like long hair, colored hair, like it was in my hippie music days. And I interviewed her and I asked her, Katie, if you were queen for a day, what would you change and why? And she said, typical Byron Katie fashion, she thought about it for a little bit and then she said, I am and nothing. I am the queen. I'm the queen. I have complete power over everything in my world and there's nothing that I change. I love that answer, and We don't need that answer right now for what we're doing here. It reminds me, some years ago, I went to, here in Manhattan, to those late night comedy shows. It was back when Jon Stewart was still doing the Daily Show, and John Oliver had recently started on his, what's it called? Last Week Tonight or something like that. And Stephen Colbert had his own show. It was before, or was it? No, it was before that. I forgot what I was doing that, but I went to Letterman, so that was before Colbert got thrown over. Anyway, I went to a bunch of those, and two of them had the same warm-up comic. And so they all have, you come into the studio and there's this warm-up comic that warms everybody up in the audience. And he said, he was like, one of his jokes was like, you know those people kind of laugh on the inside? And then he was like, if that's, you're dead to us. You're dead to us. We have no use for you here. We need you to laugh on the outside for this. You're here to be a live in-studio audience. We need you to freaking laugh on the outside. So, okay. So in this case, I need you to be angry on the outside. Be upset with something on the outside where you're like, fuck, that shit is fucking not right. Get incensed about it. Now, I don't want you to buy into that story. So I don't want you to operate from an energy that's, oh, this is wrong and I need to fix it. Like, that's not a good energy to operate from, but it's a great energy to tap into strategically and use it to get on podcasts, on stages, to get awareness, to get into publications, like everything sort of the PR spectrum, right? So newspapers, magazines, nobody reads those anymore, but like to the extent that they do, right? Online, whatever. But stages and podcasts is where it's at. So use that sort of movement. Like, this is what I'm about. I'm about to this wrong that I want to right in the world, and use that sense of being incensed about it as power, as fuel strategically. Use it to get the booking, and also when you're on the podcast, tap into that, because people want to be able to feel you, and they want to feel that you care, that you give a damn. And when they can feel that you give a damn, then they're like, yeah, that fucking sucks. It's not right. Let's fucking do something. And that gives them energy to actually move and do something, take action, whatever call you have to them, right? It reminds me too of, what's her face? The Food Babe. Truvani is her company. Vani Harry, I think. Yeah. Where she's like, all the fucking ingredients that Kellogg's and all these other companies put into their products that are garbage, that are toxic, that are carcinogenic, that are no good, but they put them into American products because they're allowed to, but not into European products because they're not allowed to. Same product in Europe, don't have them. That's fucking sick. It's not right. You want to get people riled up about this stuff. Yeah? So that's the point. Is like, when you pick, for me, the wrong is all of the human creative life force that's wasted. Wasted in all the different ways that it's wasted, by limiting beliefs and stuck emotions and energetic patterns and blocks and cords, but also politics, how every dollar that you pay in taxes, whether it's income tax or sales tax or property tax or inflation tax or whatever it is for a tax that you pay, this is your life force energy. We're all here working, doing something. Not all of us, but most of us are actually doing something to make a living, to earn a living, to make money. You get some of that money, and then the government is, I'm just going to go grab like a third to half of that, to some, maybe sometimes more than that of what you're making. We're just going to take that. And then what they do is they don't honor it. They don't honor it. Like they should, as the government, because they took that money from you. They ought, in my mind, to be even more conscientious about how they spend that money than you would be. Like, if I go waste money on whatever expensive shit, like, this is my job, it's my business, I made that money. But if you're gonna take my money by force and then spend it on something that's completely bullshit, or even worse, something that actually makes life worse for pretty much literally everybody on the planet, like say a 19-year-long war in Afghanistan, that pisses me the fuck off, right? Or if you're the CIA and you're actually dealing drugs because that's how you want to get, oh, don't get me started. I wrote a whole book on this, by the way. It's called We Can Do This, Overcoming the Political Divide and Creating the World We Want to Live in. I highly recommend it. There's a lot of detail, a lot of nuance in there, and it applies like a spiritual perspective to the world of politics and government, and a lot of angles that I haven't seen anywhere else. But the point is that my mission is to unleash human creative life force, because it is the greatest power that exists in the universe, and most people aren't aware. They have no clue of the power that they possess. And so that's the mission that I'm on, whatever. That's the movement. That's my movement. That's what I'm all about. And so if that's something that inspires you, I invite you to click the subscribe button and hit the bell button and all of that so you get notified, and tell all your friends, because that's what this is about. Buy the book and give it as a gift to all your friends and family, and read it yourself, of course. But this is the point, my friends. So instead of thinking, oh, buy my shit, think this is the movement. And it so happens that the product that I offer, the service that I offer, is along the lines of that. Like, I created Simplero because I started coaching entrepreneurs. I realized that the greatest force for good in the world is entrepreneurs, because entrepreneurs are creating something out of nothing, and they're organizing other people to help create something out of nothing, which is pretty remarkable. And entrepreneurs only get paid when they solve actual problems that people want to pay for. When they solve problems, deliver outcomes that is worth something for other people. And versus the government, who takes whatever they want and squanders it, or nonprofits that are not actually measured usually based on any kind of results. There's more about a feel-good factor. Oh, I give to these people, and like usually waste a bunch of it and aren't as careful with their resources as for-profit companies are. And even if a profit company sucks and is like wasteful and whatnot, there's competition that will eventually kill that company if they don't get their shit together. Unless they're in a position where they can actually buy the government and buy influence by regulatory capture, or they get to write the laws or whatever, so they can keep competition out, which is another problem that needs to be solved. So go read the book. So point is, I completely lost my train of thought here. Point is that it's about the movement. I forgot what my point was. Another point is, if you look at Elon Musk, love him or hate him, I think he's awesome. And I also think he's a very flawed human being, as are most people. But it's interesting to me that the wealthiest man in the world, by far, is a movement person. Right? He was never in this for the money. Like, I've read his biography by Walter Isaacson, which is amazing. If you haven't read it, highly recommend it. But it's clear that he's not motivated by money. Never was. He wants a sustainable future for humanity with electric cars, and he wants to have a backup plan if we fail by having civilization on Mars. And that's what drives everything that he's doing. It literally is what drives everything he's doing. And people think that it's just for show and it's, oh yeah, it's just what he says, but really it's about, no, it's not. I really genuinely believe, no, it's really genuinely, how do I make this one stay? It genuinely is, like this maybe? I don't know. It genuinely is why he does everything. And he lays it right out, and it checks out in my mind. And so that's the greatest example of a movement that I've ever seen. And some people care and some people don't care. But the point is that the movement doesn't just get you attention and from like stages and podcasts and people who can give you attention. It also gives you great hiring, right? So people want to be part of a movement. And so by having something that's about something bigger than just like, how do we make a bunch of money and sell a bunch of shit? What is the movement here? People want to work for you. People want to promote you. People want to be customers. People want to be partners with you. It really benefits you all around. So this is a must. I used to think it was like a luxury item, but I recognize now it's a total must to be framing what you're doing in the form of a movement. And if it's not a movement today, figure out, what is a movement? What is the movement for you? Because I bet that there is something that you care so much about that it literally is your movement. And the final thing I want to say is that the model that I'll do a separate video on this, but like the model of promotion that I'm seeing that I'm going to be doubling down on is social plus stages. So social is a non-negotiable. Social is a total non-negotiable And the way social works these days is by interest graphs. So it doesn't matter how many followers you have, you can get a shit ton of views in whatever you're doing. But the other way that you get in front of people and build the relationship is when you're on stages, being podcasts or summits or actual physical stages at conferences or seminars or things like that. And the power of that is you go on the stage to get in front of an audience that's already been collected, and you get the authority of whoever is putting that event on and is putting you on that stage that probably also already has a relationship with the people in the crowd. And so then you get to leverage that relationship to build relationship with everybody in the crowd. And it's a very powerful way to stand out from just being another face on social media. So now when they go follow you, they have more relationship with you. And so now when they see you on social, they're going to engage more, and it's going to mean more to them. And for this reason, it's really helpful. And again, movement helps with getting stages, and it helps you with enrolling people when you're speaking on stage. You're not talking about, hey, buy my shit. You're actually enrolling people into your movement, into your mission, which is legit and much more interesting to people. And then some people are going to want to buy your shit, which is great. And on the social side of things, it also helps, because when people see your stuff on social and you're like, this is my mission, this is what I'm about, like that, again, is appealing to people, and they're more likely to follow you, engage with you, which makes which is a signal to the algorithm to show more of your content to them, and people like them. So this is a win-win all around. So bottom line is, figure out what your movement is about. What do you stand against and what do you stand for? And it's very important to be firm here. The number one mistake that I see, or like controversial necessarily, although yes, please, but to be confident and have conviction and dare to stand for something and against something that matters. I will rail against Western medicine because I think it's a freaking scam, and I'm not secret about that. I will rail against government fraud and waste because I think it's a fucking travesty. And I'm okay with pissing some people off over that. Unleashing human creative life force is not very controversial. It's just probably flies a little bit, like, some people can get it, but it's a little bit abstract. But then when we get into like specific things that I'm against, like that will be like, people trust you when you take a stand that is controversial, even if they don't agree with you. And this is one of the problems that I see a lot of people have, is that they're too scared. They pull their punches. They're too hesitant to be like, yeah, I guess, like, I've seen energy healers who know that Western medicine is fucking shit. It's a scam. And they're like to each their own, and if it works for them, and I don't want to ruffle any feathers. I'm like, fuck, what are you talking about? Ruffle some freaking feathers, right? That's the business we're in. Ruffle some fucking feathers. That's what gets you attention. That's what gets people engaged and fired up, is when you do ruffle feathers. So go ruffle some freaking feathers. It's all right. It's cool. We want to ruffle some feathers because feathers need to be ruffled. And there are lots of people out there whose mission, it seems to be, to wake up every day and find something to be offended about. So do them a service, do them a favor, and give them something to be offended about. It's all right. They're going to be offended whether or not they're offended over you or not. Doesn't matter. Let them be offended. Take a stand for what you actually believe in. Don't take a stand for something that you think is going to be approved or get you likes or whatever. Believe in what the fuck you believe in and talk about it and why. And it's okay to change your mind. It's okay to be wiser. I've changed my mind on tons of things. I talk about it in the book too, about how I completely changed my mind on a ton of things that are in here. And that's totally legit. You are allowed to change your mind, and you're allowed to change your mind in public. It gives you credibility. I've had people who buy my programs and who are like, I don't agree with you on a lot of what you say, but I respect you for saying it and for daring to say it. It breeds respect. And if there are people who feel differently, like, I don't mind people disagreeing with me. And I respect people who disagree and have reasons why, who can back it up. I don't respect people who disagree without having reasons why, but then I know, yeah? And people who don't respect me for my opinions, but can't back up why, or I don't know, just don't respect me for my opinions, I don't care. I don't want them in my world. I don't want them as clients. I don't want to interact with them. That's fine. You have your opinions. You want to attract the people that are for you, and you want to repel the people who are not for you. The way I think about it is that we're part of a soul family of some sort, right? So I remember reading Ram Dass years ago, and it really spoke to me the way that he talked about it. Is there's the one universal consciousness. We're all one. Everything is alive. This thing is alive. Life is everywhere in the universe. It just is. Life is everything. Consciousness is everything. And then there's this individuated soul that is me, that is my life experience. And there's past lifetimes and future lifetimes, and time is an illusion anyway, so past and future doesn't make any freaking sense. It's all good. All right, gotta look at it through the camera here. Okay, and so there is the universal, and then there's the individuated soul, but there's also a soul family, I believe. So there's like tribes, families of souls. I don't know if they're exclusive. You're only part of one family. You can be part of multiple. And if it's graduated or it's definite, I don't know this. But the way I picture it is that there's these soul families. You know how there's certain people that are like for you, and then there are other people that are just not for you at all. And it's fine. It doesn't make them bad people or wrong or anything. It just means they're not for you. You're not for each other. That's cool. What we want to do is we want to put out this beacon, this like lighthouse, this signal is, this is me. This is who I am. This is my vibe. This is my energy, my, vibration. And then other people who are like, oh, that's mine too. They can be drawn to that, right? Like a moth to a flame, or like a lighthouse. It draws me in this direction. That's what you want. But other people are going to look at that and they're going to be like, yo, not for me. Let me get away from here. Whatever they do. It's fine. Let them go somewhere else. Find the light that's right for them. That's the beauty of this universe. None of it is right or wrong. It's just, are you for me or are you for someone else? It's fine. Either way, there's plenty of people. There's 8 billion people in the world. There's plenty for you. There's plenty for me. We don't need all of them. You don't need all of them. It's much better to be very strongly for the people that you're for and have them very strongly be for you than to be this like wishy-washy that's, I'm just scared to say anything. I just want to be friends with everybody. Like, no, it doesn't work. It doesn't work. Have some balls. Have some confidence, some belief in yourself. Back yourself up. Be that person that has your back. This is who I am. This is what the fuck I believe in. I'm going to stand for that. And I know that's a very masculine way to say it, but it can also be done in a feminine way. This is just me. This is who I am. And Sage Robbins has this very strong energy, but it's a very soft one compared to Tony, for example, right? So it doesn't have to be done in this masculine way, but you're still clear on this is what I'm for and who I'm for. And if that's for you, that's awesome. And if it's not you, that's freaking awesome too. How great that we can sort. We sort through things really quickly because we're so clear. So the game is to put out your soul family, your soul vibration so clearly that you're attracting your soul vibe. And one of the ways that you do that is by having a clear movement. That's what you stand for. That's true to the core of who you are. That's how you're wired. It's not some mental thing. It's like part of your being. And you just can't stop talking about it because it's who you are. That's what you want to do in your marketing. That's what you want to do with your movement. When you start talking like that, people are going to respond and everything's going to change. And it's so rare that I see people do this. So that's why I'm so passionate about this, because it's going to really unlock so much for you when you approach it this way. All right, that's it for today. I love you. I love you. I love you. I love you. And I love that you're watching this. Please tell your friends, subscribe, ding, notifications, all the stuff. Let me know in the comments how this lands for you. Let me know what else you want to hear about. I'm here to create incredible content for you that is absolutely life-changing. And I'm so pumped for this journey. I feel like I'm only getting started. Super fun. All right. Love you. I'll see you next time. Bye. Let me know in the comments what you think of the hair. Too short in the sides? Too short in here in the sides? Or just perfect? Let me know. All right. I'll see you.